All right, hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about the below pivot point method. I'm still utilizing our observed firing chart. All right, so why do we use below pivot point? All right. When we are engaging a target that exceeds our range of 2900, we are then going to drop from pivot point and utilize our below pivot point method. All right. So once again, when the range to the target being engaged exceeds 2,900 meters, that's our initial range to the target, we would drop below and utilize our below pivot point method. All right, so just like our pivot point, we still need our two items in order to construct this method. All right, so our gun to target azimuth, simply our direction of fire, and then a range in meters from our mortar position to the target. All right, so I plot my mortar fire position and my target position on my map. I utilize my protractor. I get my grid azimuth, my direction of fire, and then I get my range. Once I have those two numbers, I can go ahead and construct my observed firing chart. All right, so specifically for 60s and 81s, all right, if I'm doing below pivot point, I'm going to drop down from the pivot point on my vertical center line with range scale to where it says 2,000. All right, and then from there, I'm going to go either left or right 500 meters. All right, remember 500 meters is one big black square on my plotting board. All right, so like I said, 60s and 81s, that's 2,000 meters and 500 meters. If I'm using 120s, I'm going to drop all the way down on my vertical center line with range scale to 3,000 and then left or right 500. All right, it does not matter which way you go, left or right, based off of a vertical center line, but for the ease of this video, I will just show you how to go left, okay? So I pulled my grid azimuth in my range from my map. I came up with a grid azimuth, a direction of fire of 0100. All right, so first and foremost, I need to index my direction of fire of 0100. Now, like I said, for 60s and 81s, 2,000. For 120s, 3,000. All right, in this example, I'll be using 81s. So I'm gonna come from my pivot point and I'm gonna go down my vertical center line to where it's 2,000. And then I'm going to go left 500 and I'm going to make a plot. Now the reason why we go to left to right is so we can get that pivot point out of the way. All right, so when we start parallel line plotting here in a minute, it'll make more sense. But essentially all we're doing is trying to get this pivot point out of the way so it doesn't interfere with our ranges, okay? So I went down 2,000. In this case, I went left 500 and make a plot. I'm going to mark it. If I had a marker that worked. I'm going to mark my mortar firing position with my hollow cross. All right, and then if I had my altitude, that bottom left corner, just like previously stated. Okay, so now my mortar fire position is good. Now I have to plot my target, all right? So, down 2,000, left 500. Remember, if I wanted to, I could have put my mortar fire position here. It does not matter. All you're trying to do is get your pivot point out of the way, but it will be 500 meters, one black square. Once I have that, I can go ahead and plot my target. All right, so remember, my range exceeded 2,900 meters. That's why I'm utilizing this method. So all I'm going to do is, using the left edge of my range arm, I'm going to index 0 on my range arm with my mortar firing position. Keeping my range arm straight up, following along with the plotting board base grid lines. And then I'm going to make a plot at the range that I came up with from my map. All right, so I had a distance of 3,500. So keeping my range arm nice and straight, indexed 0 at my mortar fire position, I'm going to make a plot at 35 on my range arm for 3,500 meters. Now I can circle it, label it with 1. Now, in order to obtain my chart data, I have to superimpose my refer deflection scale. All right? So remember, your direction of fire, rounded to the nearest 50, is your mounting azimuth. In this case, my direction of fire is already there. All right, 0, 1, 0, 0. All I'm going to do is superimpose my refer deflection scale utilizing Lars. All right, so now I have my refer deflection scale superimposed on my plotting board. Now for this initial round, I'm already parallel line plotted. And all that means is my target is directly above, in a parallel line, above my mortar fire position. All right? So when I say parallel plot, all you're going to do is rotate your azimuth disc until your target is directly parallel plotted with your mortar firing position. All right. When you do this, your mortar firing position will always be closest to you. All right, always closest to you. Target should always be away from you. But because this is initial setup, I don't have to do anything because I already indexed my direction of fire. Went down 2,000, left 500, went straight up from my mortar fire position and plotted my target. Therefore, I'm already parallel plotted. So once I superimpose my refer deflection scale, all I have to do is obtain my initial chart deflection, my initial chart range, and then I can go ahead, pull my azimuth because I'm already there, update my FDC order, my initial chart data, find angle T, change my charge, and then it's as easy as just filling out the rest of my initial fire command, sending that data to the gun lines, hanging and firing. All right? So just to recap, down and dirty, below pivot point method, still utilizing the observed firing chart method. All you need is your gun to target azimuth, so your direction of fire, a grid azimuth, and then your range from the mortar fire position to the target. So you can plot those on a map, figure out what your two numbers are, figure out what your refer deflection is going to be, and now you're ready to apply this to your M16 plotting board. All right, so you first step before you do anything with plotting is indexing that direction of fire that you obtained off your map. Once you have that indexed, then you go down for 60s and 81s or 2000, your left or right 500, and you make a plot. All right, if I would have went right, I would have just made a plot here, went up 35, and now my target would have been on this side. My data still remains the same. All right, so no confusion there. You're just trying to get the pivot point out of the way when plotting your targets. All right, and then for 120s, down 3,000, still going left or right 500. Once I have that, I mark my mortar fire position with my hollow cross, and then I can go up the distance I've determined off my map, ensuring that my range arm is nice and parallel with my mortar fire position. I'm index 0. I make my plot for my target. Now, because this is initial setup, that first plot already gives me my data. All I need to do is superimpose my referred deflection scale onto my plotting board, right? So I rounded my direction of fire to the nearest 50. In this case, it was already good, 0100. I superimposed my referred deflection of 2800 on my plotting board, utilizing Lars. I went left 400 mils, right 400 mils, and now I'm ready to prosecute this target and send my data to the gun line. All right. Once again, if you have any questions over the initial setup for low pivot point, observe firing chart, please reach out to me via Instagram or YouTube. If you haven't done so already, like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, and be sure to follow up on the videos to come.